My dear children, today I will be talking about agriculture sector, the changes which happened in the agriculture sector during three important periods. Okay, so what are we going to actually discuss is that what are the changes that occurred during the period when India got independence, and then what happened to the agriculture sector between the period 1950 to 1990, and then what happened in 1991. Okay, so this is actually the basis of three chapters, first three chapters of Indian economic development from NCERT book. Chapter number 1 name is Indian economy on the eve of independence. Chapter 2 name is Indian economy during the period 1950 to 1990, and chapter 3 is liberalization, privatization, globalization and appraisal, right? So the weightage in board exam of first three chapters of Indian economic development from NCERT, the weightage is of 12 marks, right? So now, rather than discussing each chapter in detail, my strategy would be to discuss one sector with regard to different periods or different chapters that we are going to study, which means what is the status of agriculture sector in chapter 1, chapter 2 and then in chapter 3, how it changed. Notes regarding this particular area, the notes you can easily get from any book. It can be NCERT or any other reference book will be able to provide you with the notes. My aim from this video is to just differentiate between the agriculture sector changes during three periods, just for your understanding, so that making the notes or learning those notes become very easy for you. So we will start with the first chapter. In first chapter, what are the features of agriculture sector? For this, first you have to understand which period are we talking about. Indian economy on the eve of independence. Now this term eve, what does this mean? Eve is a day before or the evening before a particular event or a festival which we are talking about. So like India got independence on 15th of August 1947. So when we say we are talking about in eve of independence, it means we are talking about the evening of 14th August 1947. Now we want to know what was the status of agriculture sector on the evening of 14th August 1947. For knowing this, we have to first understand that whatever was the feature of agriculture sector during the colonial period would automatically be represented on the eve of independence. So we have to understand what happened during the 200 years which India was a colony of Britain, what happened to the agriculture sector. So first thing which we have to do in this is the agriculture was stagnated. Stagnation means the production level or the productivity of the agriculture sector was low. Reason for this is the land settlement system. Now one example of land settlement system is zamindari system, where zamindars were made the owners of the land and they had to deposit a fixed rent to the British government. So they were always exploiting the farmers. They were not concerned with the welfare of the farmers, or they were not interested in investment for the better agriculture facilities. Second feature of agriculture sector was low levels of technology, irrigation and fertilizers. All this was neglected area during the colonial period because neither the British government was focusing on this side of agriculture sector nor the zamindars were focusing on this side. They were only interested in taking the fixed rent from the farmers and giving it to the British government. Now third feature of agriculture sector was commercialization of agriculture. Now the root of this can be seen from the British industry or the industrialization in Britain, for which British industries needed raw material. Now this raw material came from the agriculture sector of India. Now whenever we need raw material for industries like, let's say, textile mills of Britain, we need raw material like cotton or jute or indigo. All these are what type of crops? These are cash crops rather than food crops. So now the focus of the farmers in India was forcefully shifted from food crops to cash crops. They were forced to grow cash crops which can be transported and given and can be used as raw material for the British industry. So this is all what happened in agriculture sector during the colonial period, and hence these are also the features of agriculture sector of Indian economy on the eve of independence. Now how it changed, how the agriculture sector changed during the period 1950 to 1940. So this comes the part of the second chapter where we will be talking about agriculture sector, how it changed during these 40 years after independence. So just remember that India had now got the independence in 1947, and now they are working on the development policy. So 5-year plans also came up, and let's see what were the changes that were taking place in the agriculture sector during these 40 years. Now when you look at the CBSE curriculum, they have mentioned in the curriculum, and children, it is very important that whenever you start studying any particular topic, you should first consult the curriculum given by the CBSE. So in curriculum, there are two things that has been mentioned, that agriculture sector, in bracket they have mentioned institutional aspects, and the other thing they have mentioned is new agriculture strategy. So when we talk of institutional aspects, it means we are talking about the ownership and management of agriculture sector, which means who will be now owner of the land or the agriculture sector and who will be managing it. So as you remember, when we compare this with the land settlement system, here owner was zamindar, and who was managing it? The farmers or the tillers, soil tillers, or you can say agricultural laborers. They were managing the agriculture sector. Now this thing changed after independence because government introduced land reforms. Now you have to be very clear between the difference between land reforms and land settlement. Do not get confused between both the terms. Land settlement means we are talking about zamindari system. We are talking about an exploitative system introduced by the British government in India. While when we talk of land reforms, we are talking about reforms like abolition of intermediaries and land ceiling. Intermediaries are, again, we are talking about zamindars. So now when planning started in India, what happened was land reforms were introduced where government said that we need to abolish the intermediaries, or we have to simply abolish the zamindari system. There would be no zamindars. Then who will be the owner of land? The soil tillers, the agricultural laborers, or the farmers who were actually working on those pieces of land, they became the owners of the land. And second type of land reform that was introduced was land ceiling. Land ceiling, here the government of India of Free India introduced the system of land ceiling, which means the maximum limit, the maximum size which anybody can own in the agriculture sector, the farm size. So this was also restricted so that the farmers have almost the equal distribution of land size, and no one farmer become too rich and no other farmer becomes too poor. Now when I say the second part according to the CBSE curriculum related to the agriculture sector is new agriculture strategy. So what strategy was adopted by Indian government during the period 1950 to 1990? The answer to this is Green Revolution. Green Revolution was adoption of high yielding variety seeds, HYV seeds in short we can say it. These seeds were adopted to increase the production in the agriculture sector. Now this was introduced in phased manner, phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 was between mid 60s till mid 70s, and phase 2 was from mid 1970s to mid 1980s. In phase 1, focus was only one crop, which was wheat. The production of wheat was increased by using HYV seeds, and it was restricted to states like Punjab, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. While in phase 2, all crops were covered under the Green Revolution, and almost all states were now having Green Revolution, which means the agriculture production increased. So when we compare this period with the previous period, here the production was very, very low because of there was stagnation because of land settlement system, while over here, because of adoption of Green Revolution, we saw the higher levels of agricultural production. Now, in order to adopt HYV seeds, there is need of fertilizers and irrigation facilities. So government started giving subsidies to the farmers, also in the form of fertilizer subsidy. The impact of all these strategies adopted by Government of India was that India became self-sufficient in food grains. When you compare this with the previous chapter, here we saw that due to commercialization of agriculture, the farmers were now shifting from food crops to cash crops. So there was a shortage of food crops during the colonial period or on the eve of independence. But when we look at the period of 1950 to 1990, what do we see is that the production of food grains have become so high that now we do not need to import it from America, and in fact we were becoming self-sufficient in food grain production. So much so that we also had marketed surplus. That means after we have fulfilled our own requirements, we are able to sell it in the market. Okay. Not only that, we were also able to maintain buffer stocks for the times of emergency. So all this was the positive impact of Green Revolution adopted in India. Now let's see how agriculture sector changed in the period 1991. Now 1991, what happened was that because of deficit in BOP, balance of payment, and various other deficits like fiscal deficit, India had to borrow money from IMF and World Bank. So $7 billion were borrowed by India from IMF and World Bank, and this was given to Indian government only on certain conditions. The condition was that India will adopt the policy of liberalization, privatization and globalization. Now let's see the impact of all these policies adopted, as also known as new economic policy, on the agriculture sector of India. Now when we look at agriculture sector in 1991, you should remember that growth rate of agriculture sector was now falling. Why was it falling? Because Indian government has stopped giving importance to the investment in the agriculture sector. So public investment, that means the government was not focusing in the investment in the area of agriculture. Also, government decided to remove fertilizer subsidy. So the poor farmer was not able to buy the fertilizers and hence was not able to adopt HYV seeds. The other impact was reduction in import duty on agricultural products. Now this was the result of the trade reforms which occurred due to liberalization adopted in 1991. All types of import duties were reduced. So now importing agricultural products from any other country became cheaper. Similarly, removal of minimum support prices to farmers, and also removal of quota. Quota means the quantitative restrictions on imports. So all this was removed or reduced, which led to a drawback to the Indian farmers. The drawback was that Indian farmers had to face international competition now, right? Because you were able to import more, Now when you were importing at reasonable prices, the domestic farmers had to face the international competition. So they were not able to sell their product in the market, right? Now next drawback which was happening due to the adoption of new economic policy was that the strategy of new economic policy also included export oriented strategy, which means that the focus was on export, right? So when we want to export, as what happened during the time of colonial period also, when you want to export, you would produce cash crops instead of food grains. Why? Because cash crops have a huge market in the international markets. So you would like to produce more of cash crops instead of food grains. So again we were back to the same position, that we were now having the shortage of food grains, because of which the price of food grains also increased in India. So this is how we can see the changes in the agriculture sector during these three phases. Like when we talk of food grains only, the production of food grains had gone down during the colonial period. It increased during the period of planning period, or the period of reforms, the period from 1950 to 1990. The food grains production increased because of Green Revolution. But again, with the adoption of new economic policy, again we were focusing more on cash crops rather than food grains, and again once again there was a shortage of food grains in India. So in my next video, in the similar fashion, I would like to discuss the difference in the agriculture, the difference between the industrial sector during three phases, how the industrial sector changed during these three periods. Thank you.